Well, it may have taken a few of you by surprise that we're still decorated for Christmas. The poinsettias are up here still, however haggard a few of them look. This Christmas tree garland is still up. The greenery is still up. A lot of people, Christmas Day stops at, 12:01 on Christmas Day, December the 25th. Growing up, we used to we'd ride through and people would still have the decorations up on the January the 2nd. And we're like, ooh, that's bad luck. Leave your Christmas decorations up that long. And then we understand as we grow and think about things a little bit more, the 12 days of Christmas, that's a thing. That goes all the way to January the 5th. I don't know about you, but I'll let you in on a little secret. Before Christmas, I never really get to enjoy my Christmas decorations at home. So on the 26th, I love to just kind of sit there and enjoy them and relax. Think about the goodness and all the joy of Christmas. And I get to eat all those yummy leftovers and all those chocolates that I bought and hadn't consumed. And I think, I'm just celebrating the best time. It's good, And so now we've just completely drug it out this year till January the 8th. 2 days after the true Epiphany on January the 6th. Yep. Even Putin got this one right. He was in church on January the 6th by himself, the part where he got it wrong. Church is not meant to be individually or done one-on-one. Church is meant to be a community of believers, and when that ceases to be, something is totally awry in the world and in our lives. Because it's about an epiphany. We say that, I've had an epiphany. We have seen the light. The light bulb went off. I finally figured it out. That's what epiphany means. Some of them, Facebook even got in on it. They said breakfast at Epiphanies. It's the best. But it's about the star. We even put a star on a lot of Christmas trees. I don't know about you at home. You may have a different one. I have one that's been weaved together. It's some years old now. And it looks like a basket star. It's pretty cool. It doesn't glitter and shine like that one does, but it's good. It's wonderful. I didn't put it on there this year. I only got lights. Don't tell. I went and bought a live tree, put it in the corner of the room, put 2 strands of lights on it, and that was my Christmas tree. It's okay. Beauty and bringing light into the world takes a lot of different forms and a lot of different possibilities. Maybe we need to hear that more this day than anything else. That we bring into the world the light that has been given to us. That the gift of God that grows in and through our spirits and through our souls, that we can give off the light to the world as an example, as an ambassador for Christ. Sometimes it's easier to do that than others. Sometimes it's just people make it hard to be nice to them. That's not our job in life. Our job is to hear where God is calling us to be, not about them. There's a great line in Scripture, and I've thought about it more recently than I have in a long time. Don't worry about the splinter in your neighbor's eye, but the log in your own. Oh yeah, we get really upset about some minor details in the world, and yet we've not done our share to make a difference. Our light, we're just like, I'm just tired. My light just does not shine. It's just wore out. There ain't much of it left. I got to hold on to it. Well, that's not the way it works. Have you sometimes if you really, you should do this like an experiment. Like, get all the mirrors in your house and put them all in one small room. And go in there in the middle of the night when there's not a full moon and light a small little candle. That one little flame, do you know how much reflection that gives into the room? And the flame hasn't gotten any bigger, but the light seems so much brighter. Just that small little flicker of flame. The Epiphany. When the wise guys showed up. One of the best jokes I've ever heard was the fact that you can tell that these were wise men, for they brought impractical gifts to a baby. Mary wanted Pampers. She got gold. Nice gift. Frankincense and myrrh. Oh yeah, great. That'll be really handy when there's diaper rash. What you see and what you expect and what you get sometimes is two different things. We're told that the wise men, they showed up at a house. We learned just a mere, 2 weeks ago, that Jesus was born in a manger, a stable, a barn, not a house. But Matthew says that the wise men came to a house and they went in. Now, I have always heard that Jesus was about 2 years old whenever they showed up. It took them a while to get there. They were flying Southwest. But I heard recently, and it took a while, his manger, his star came up over the, and they started traveling. They were traveling by camels. So that's a little slower than perhaps a jaguar, car, or animal. And so it took a while for them to get there. And they followed the star in that faithful journey that they made. On and on. Can you imagine that? Now, I've done some pretty crazy things in life. Well, there was one year we decided that we went to one of those, it's TJ Maxx or Marshall or something. And they had the coolest, those ornaments that they paint on the inside of them. It's a glass ornament, they paint the inside, it's reversed imagery. Well, they had those things, and y'all know, if you don't, you need to know this, I love a bargain. I think they were $3.99, $4.99, $5.95, something like that, at TJ Maxx or Marshall's. Well, we went to the one in Winston, and I got 2 or 3 there. And then we went to the other one over there in Winston, and we got 2 or 3 there. And then we had to drive to High Point, to the store in High Point, to see if we could find any there, and I got a few there. Well, and then we came to Greensboro, I think. This has been a while, and then I would just search all over the place. Hickory, it didn't matter wherever I was looking for those things that year. Got a whole box of them. Didn't put any of them out this year. But I was having fun. I was finding the gift. I was getting the joy. I was getting a bargain. And I didn't use them. But that's okay. Sometimes when the wise men showed up at the house, we don't know exactly when it might have been. He may have been older. But he also, Adam Hamilton put this out there this week, that the wise men may have actually noticed the stars moving before Jesus was born. Whoa, I've never heard that before. Never thought about it. These are astrologers that constantly study the stars and watch how they move and how they flow and how they change and the patterns, planets coming together. They knew a whole lot more about it than the app that I follow. And they may have left early. Can you all imagine that? I don't really leave early to go anywhere. I need to do better. I look at my phone, it says it's going to take 15 minutes to get there. I said, I can do it in 12. Or I've got just one more thing I need to do before I go. But they may have heard, seen, understood the stars moving and have went toward the Jerusalem sooner. We don't know. We always, the legend has it that there were 3 wise men. Do you know why there were 3 wise men? Because there were 3 gifts. We don't know if there were 2 wise men came or if there were 25. We don't know. We just know that there were 3 gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, according to Matthew. And they journeyed this long, arduous path, not knowing where they were going but believing in the light that they were following. What a model of faith. To follow after the light that we know that we're following on a path where we don't know where it's going to take us. What an attestament to faith. They say that when he got there, they went to the king. You know, it's like getting to the Welcome Center when you go into Florida. They've got free orange juice. You can have a cup. At least they used to have that. I don't know. It's been a while since I went that way. But they went for information. They went to try to figure out what was going on. What did they understand? What did they see in the stars to help make sense of it? And they walk up to the king and say, "Hey, where's the new king?" Now, that didn't go over too good. It wouldn't in our world. You know, we just remember the death of Pope Benedict this week. There were a lot of people who were quite concerned when one pope retired and the other pope was elected. There were some times during the Middle Ages when there were two popes, and that didn't go too good. Or after the Middle Ages, 1500 Reformation. You know, that was a little unsettling for history. And yet somehow it was able to work out. But now when you're the king and you're a little afraid of your own power and maintaining power, and another person shows up and asks him where the real king is, you're going to get afraid. And it says not only was the king afraid, maybe perhaps like Putin, that all Jerusalem with him was afraid. Well, we know the system and the places that we live. We understand where we are. We understand our place in it. We've got our little domain and power, and we're okay with that. We don't need something different. Don't go messing up the system. Oh, don't mess up the system. We're good. Shh. But Herod was so concerned and worried when the wise men didn't show back up that slaughter of 2-year-olds and below, slaughtering of the innocents. Verse 16. Oh, it unsettles the world with the gift of Jesus in the world. It changes the perspective. It changes the way that we understand things, the way that we know, the way that we love, the way that we care. It's because of Jesus in the world. Even the evil people get that right. They know that he transforms our lives and in our world into something totally different. It is true that in the Eastern Church, not the Western Church, not the Catholic Church, not in most of America, but in the Eastern Church, Russian Orthodox is how we often would say it, but now it's not good to be Russian Orthodox. It's the Eastern Church. That Epiphany is really the day of celebration. Part of Spain, I mean, you know, there's influences throughout Europe that's where the party is. New Orleans, I think that's one of the days that they celebrate with king cakes. All the good stuff and the arrival of Christ. Maybe they get that right. Christmas is more of a prelude. It's like, well, they're here, and then Jesus begins to change the life and into the world, and that's the day of celebration. That's the day that the wise men brought gifts. That's the day we give gifts. That's the day that things happen. Maybe that's good. For Matthew, part of what Matthew wants us to know is that Jesus fulfills the prophecy of the Old Testament. You know, that's why the Bible, you know, we scholarship teaches us that which was the first gospel that was written? Not Matthew, but Mark. Mark came first. Why didn't Mark in the first of the book? Oh, well, let's put Matthew right there. Because Matthew works to serve as a bridge to the Old Testament. So that people will say, well, I like the New Testament God, but I don't like the Old Testament God. Well, that's not true. The Old Testament God and the New Testament God are the same God. It's our understanding of how God reveals God's self to the world that's at work. We know more, we learn how to live better. And so Matthew serves as this bridge, fulfilling all these Old Testament prophecies. He goes back and picks up this from Isaiah 60, this promise of a great king, this gifts of gold and frankincense. They didn't include myrrh there, but it's included in Matthew. I had to look that up. You know what gold is. Somebody said that I should recommend today the investing in gold in the future of your retirement fund. They said that was what I really should cover in my sermon. That's a good idea. If you've got a whole bunch of gold, keep it up. Good idea. But gold, in this instance, represents the kingship of Jesus, the power that he brings, recognizing his stateliness and his power and his glory. Frankincense was used in the temple as an offering. It was part of the offering that was burned for the incense. It was part of the offering that was the only spice that was used around the altar in the temple. Oh, it was the highest and glorious. I love the idea of incense. When they burn incense, you know all that smoke that's created? The idea and the imagery of that is that smoke carries our prayers to the God in heaven. Oh, such powerful imagery. And myrrh was used as a perfume. Oftentimes we're told that was part of the death ritual. So part of what the wise men were bringing was the kingship of Christ, the lordship of Christ, and emphasis, or it implied and gave way to the death of Christ, leaning toward the power of the resurrection, even at his birth. The star is such. I mean, it fulfills the prophecies as well. From Numbers 24:17, a star shall come out of Jacob. Oh, the house of Jacob. This sounds familiar. And that Jesus was born in Bethlehem. I really think that there's something to that. Jesus being born in Bethlehem. If you look at the Hebrew root of Bethlehem, it's called the house of bread. Did you know that? The house of bread. I don't know about you, but what would be a more fitting day than a day that we celebrate communion together? The house of bread, that Jesus was born in the house of bread, and then we hear later in the Gospel of John that I am the bread of life. Jesus gives life. Power of that. Part of what's exemplifying here is that the very idea that Jesus not only was born in Israel, to Jerusalem, but that the wise men came from outside of Israel. Jesus came to the world. Talked about that a little bit over Christmas. That part of what Jesus exemplifies for us is that God never, ever, ever has given up on the world and hasn't given up on us either. The gift of Christ for the world is our gift still this day. That it is He who nurtures and sustains us. It's He who transforms us into His people. All glory, honor, and power be to the one who was, who is, and who is to come. Amen.